G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and here we go with round 2 of the Test Season Nations Cup happening in Gran Turismo 7. If you haven't seen the last video, I do urge you to go and watch that one first, but in this video today is going to be all about learning. I will note the series is actually not called FIA anymore. It's not FIA, it's called the Gran Turismo World Series, or GTWS for short, so Gran Turismo can run the series however they so wish. And for this particular one, it's 4 rounds at Tsukuba circuit, driving the Mazda Roadster touring car. But we finally got up to speed for round 2. I think this particular race was on a Wednesday, so I was able to actually put in a little bit more time and get myself closer to the top of the pace. You see my record there is at 11.1, and I was able to spend quite a bit of time to try and get that lap time there and try and learn all the nuances of this particular car around this particular track. So something I was learning as we were going on is to really get it stopped and rotated. That is the most important thing. Get on the power as early as possible. We're on the Comfort Soft tyres, so even though it's a soft compound tyre, the tyre type is basically what you find on your regular road cars. So if you go to your local Toyota dealership and buy a, I don't know, bottom end 4-door Toyota Yaris, these are the type of tyres. Those are the type of tyres that we're racing on today. So not much grip, especially when you're trying to lay down on the exit of these slow corners in a rear-wheel drive Mazda Roadster, especially as we're driving up towards 150 kilometers an hour as we come into this sweeping right-hander at the end of Tsukuba circuit, turn 9 at Tsukuba, and we find quite a bit of pace through there. We're 4.5 tenths up there, and we set ourselves a 111.132, a slight improvement on the old record that we used to have. So I'm finding myself a lot closer to the pace in this particular race here, so I think we could expect a slightly better showing in terms of points. Obviously, in the last video, I detailed how I didn't really have too much time to get up to pace for round 1, so I was a little bit sort of towards the back of the field. Most of the grid actually disconnected in that first round there, so I was able to bring home a nice 6th position, which I suppose could have been worse if we had a lot of the faster drivers that were able to connect into that race. But we're going to go out for qualifying for round 2. Once again, a lovely sunny track and no delays in qualifying this time. This is interesting, okay, because I get out of the grid, I get out of the pits first. I'm leading the pack, which rarely occurs. Even on my PlayStation 5, I still hardly get out of the pits first. So my internet was having a very good day, nice fast connection. Find myself first on the track. I have track position for qualifying, and I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to bother with all that slipstream nonsense. And the one thing I was worried about is I've got Emery behind, so that's Emily Jones, quite a fast lady racing on Gran Turismo, so I do have to kind of watch out for her and her fast qualifying laps, because yeah, she is definitely, or at least at some point in her career, was good enough to be racing the top guys in the region. That's the first qualifying lap, an 11.6. This is our next one, or we set an 11.7, and then we've got an 11.5. So finding pace, if you remember to the last video, my best qualifying lap at the end of a session was an 11.6. But let's see if we can improve on this lap. We've not been heckled by Emily Jones behind, so we've just got to focus on our apexes, make sure we get the car stopped in time, braking just before that little access road, get it turned, look at that, nice and tight to the inside of the corner, and just get on the throttle as early as I can. Something else I was learning is that basically the top times were counter-steering before the oversteer even happened, to try and stop the oversteer from happening in the first place. So I was sort of trying to do that too. And they were using a technique of basically returning the steering to the center rather than actually counter-steering to try and quell the oversteer before it even happened. So that's what I was trying to do as well, and it was working quite well for me, just nice and gentle on the throttle. It may not look like I'm going gentle by planting the throttle on the exit, but if the car is sort of gripped up and you got the car balanced, which is the skill required in this particular car, then you can actually exit these corners with quite a lot of throttle percentage on without too much oversteer. So that's what I was able to actually suss out. I was able to, you know, sort that out for this qualifying session, and we set ourselves an 11.2, and that puts us up in provisional 4th position. On the next lap, I was slightly blue in that first sector split there, so it's looking to be a slight improvement. I'm slightly down there, however, almost a tenth down, so I've lost time in that latter part of the lap and then up across the line to end that session. It was no further improvement, but it just goes to show I could have improved. But so far, it was good enough to sit 4th on the grid, and we'll see where that puts me as we finally get into the race. Obviously, the positions are not confirmed until we see our car on the grid there, and we find ourselves in 5th. We've got a surprise cheeky false start check now, so I'm going to have to get that handbrake on, get the traction control on in record time, and Contio makes a complete hash of it. I think he was in the wrong gear. He doesn't get the launch off the start, so we've made a position up into 5th, although I think we've got Oa Yogurt on the inside. He had a slight overlap on the inside there. I'm able to sort of hang it around the outside of Oa Yogurt. He's not able to use the width of the track to try and get a decent run through turn 1 because he had cars sandwiching him into a very precarious position. We're running side by side up towards turn 4. Got to make sure we give him space here, and we do perfectly. And we got the Supreme inside here, and we're going to edge him out a little bit forceful there, but he left it on the track. But I was basically just saying, look, sorry, I'm defending this position, you have to drop in behind, and that is what I was able to do. So we now find ourselves back up in 4th after qualifying in 5th, so we're back where we were provisionally, which isn't too bad at all. And the only drivers we've got in front of us is Andrew Lee, that's Distinct Andrew, or Amazing Hour, as he was formerly known. We've got Candinolian, I'm not quite sure what his first name is, I'm sorry, but that's Noodles, and we've got Ranger Oz, whose nickname is Ranger here, so very quick drivers in the region. We find ourselves just behind pretty much the gold standard that we have in Oceania top split. Okay, so as I said at the start, this second round of the test season was really a big learning curve for me. We're here for the whole season. We're driving the Mazda Roadsters at Tsukuba for all 4 rounds of this test season Nations Cup. So we really have to get dialed into this combination because we're going to be here for a little bit. They've flown me out to Tsukuba. They've left me there for a few weeks. No, they've left me there for half a week while I'm doing all of these test season races within the span of about a week. So quite an intensive schedule. But yeah, as we were learning, I found myself getting closer and closer to the pace, so I was quite happy with the progression there. I find I tend to do pretty well if I have time to get comfortable with the combination, if I have time to sort of drill what I need to do into muscle memory rather than actually having to think about it every time I do it. So obviously that's easier said than done. But I find if I just sort of jump in a little bit blind to a combo, I find myself quite far off the pace, more so than maybe some other people that have jumped in with a sort of a similar lack of practice, so to speak. It takes me a bit to get up to pace, basically. But what I was trying to focus on here is, given the competition at the top end of this grid, and given the pressure that Oa Yogurt's putting on behind me, my main focus was to not actually lose any positions. That's basically it. I wasn't really looking to move forward, because given the fact that Andrew's driving off into the distance as per usual, and the fact that we have a World Tour driver, and pretty much the fastest driver that's never been to a World Tour in Ranger Oz ahead of us, it's kind of unrealistic to try and expect to get a move done. It's difficult to get a move done at Tsukuba Circuit at the best of times because, you know, there's a distinct lack of good overtaking opportunities. The end of the longest straight is a long curved right-hander. It's not really a hard braking zone where you can send your car up the inside to make a move. So you've pretty much got to have an overlap coming into that final quarter. So it's not easy to overtake around here. Turn 1 is probably your best place, but if you get a poor run out of the last turn, which is so easy to do because it's such a long, drawn-out corner, you basically delete your best overtaking opportunity around this place. But we're doing pretty well so far. Our lap 2 is an 11.8. The fastest lap of the race so far is an 11.3. Let's see if Andrew eclipses that as he goes across the line. He does. It's still 11.3. We set ourselves at 11.6, 11.69, so almost a 0.7, close enough to a 0.7 where you could basically call it a 0.7, but we slightly improve into a mid 11.6. That's actually quite decent pace. If you have a look on the right-hand side as well, we've set ourselves an 11.69, an 11.68, and an 11.66. So quite consistent pace. We do have the slight slipstream assistance off Ranger Oz and Noodles, up in 3rd and 2nd place respectively. But I think that those mid-11s there is pretty much bang on where you need to be. And the fact that, you know, we've not been gapped by Noodles, we've not been gapped by Ranger Oz, we've not been overtaken by Oa Yogurt, we're really holding our own here. And that's just what I was focusing on, because I'd learnt a lot of the nuances of this particular race. I was able to sort of identify where I needed to, you know, be careful with the car. I was able to sort of see where I could be rough with the car, where I could chuck it into the corners, and I was really sort of comfortable in this second round, which was good, because I felt like a fish out of water in that first round. And as we head on to this last lap, we are going to have a look at the gap to Oa Yogurt, because it's been sort of a close race between us. He's been right there to pick up any pieces of any minor mistake I may make, which is still very easy to do. I've got 3 low-speed hairpins where it's so easy to oversteer on the exit. Again, I was pretty comfortable, so I was able to sort of deal with the risk of the oversteer, but that being said, it's still not out of the question as Ranger Oz gets a kick. I get a little bit of a kick of oversteer. That gap to Oa Yogurt is about half a second there, and it's opening up as we exit that corner, so I actually got a better exit than him, braking as late as we possibly can into this turn 4 hairpin now. Get it turned on the inside where all the camber is, meet the outside of the track, back over to the left, gap to Oa Yogurt's opened up to about 7 tenths at this stage, so he's almost ready to drop out of the slipstream range. As we head through that 90-degree right-hander, that gap's come down to 6.5 tenths now. He's still not going to be quite close enough to actually get a move, unless I make a complete hash of this turn 8 hairpin now, and Oa Yogurt gets a really stonking exit. There's not going to be too much he can do as we exit that corner there. The gap's opened up. It's opened up to 7.2 tenths there, so just about in the slipstream range, but I'm a lot closer to Ranger Oz than Oa Yogurt is to me, so I've got a stronger slipstream than Oa Yogurt, which means I just have a straight line speed advantage. I think Noodles has just extended that gap to Ranger Oz a bit and consolidated himself to finish in second position. Ranger Oz comes across in third, and myself, I come across the line in fourth. I think I set an 11.8 at the end of that race there. Noodles is only 4 seconds off Andrew, and Andrew was setting the gold standard for the race. But that's a 4th spot, you know, top of the grid in Oceania top split, and that was a pretty full grid as well. Not too many disconnects there. But I'm quite happy with that performance. You know, it wasn't an absolutely blistering race start to finish. It was more so just sort of a showcase of the consistency there, and I ended up bringing home 293 points. So that puts us in a pretty good position. This Test Season Nations Cup is a 4-round Nations Cup, and the best 2 rounds count. So we got ourselves, I suppose, an okay result in the first round. I think we got about 250 points or something in the first round. We've got 290 here. We've got 2 more rounds to go and 2 more opportunities to try and improve on that 250 from round 1, which I think we can do, because I felt quite comfortable, good enough. I drove well enough to achieve that 290. I think we can probably do it again and really consolidate ourselves and give ourselves a really good result in the end of the first Test Season Nations Cup. But that's going to finish up this nice, short and sweet video today. So do hit the like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos and streams from me. Do leave a comment as well. Questions, comments and constructive criticism, as always, very much appreciated. That's at the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.